What's up, guys? This is Brave, and I'm back with another review of Tyler Perry's Sistas. This is season 3, episode 14, I believe, and the episode is titled One Word Answers. Let's jump right into it because Tyler is really trying it this episode, but let's just go ahead and get started. So we start off exactly where we left off, and that is at Maurice's house. Calvin is standing there butt-ass naked. You have the white chick over here standing around butt-ass naked. And this heifer is like, oh my God, you're Sabrina? I've heard so much about you. Girl, I don't know what type of free spirit you are, but you don't know none of these people except for Calvin. Nobody, I don't care how much of a free spirit you are, nobody meets somebody unexpectedly and is just cool with being naked like this. I don't believe those people exist. So Maurice keeps calling her Becky, and she's like, it's Peggy. I said, Tyler, you so trash. Who names characters Peggy? What white woman is still named Peggy in 2021? Anyways, you have Calvin, he's trying to explain himself, but Sabrina, she storms out because she has an attitude. Here's the thing, though. When he brought up the whole, oh, if you talking to somebody else, let me know, all that crap. Listen, he was hoping that Sabrina was going to say, oh, yeah, I'm seeing other people as well, so that way he can still mess around with this white chick. But on the other hand, they still have not established a relationship. Honestly, nobody on this show has established a relationship. Not Karen and Aaron, not Sabrina and Calvin. Hell, not even really Danni and Preston, because we're going to talk about them in a minute, because they didn't even know each other. I guess we could say Zach and Fatima at this point, sort of, kind of. And Andi was engaged to Gary. Okay. But besides that, nobody is actually in a relationship, and that shit is weird to me. Like, Tyler, you have got to at least get these girls to the point where they're in a relationship so that some of this stuff can make sense. So like I said, baby girl, she storms out because she don't want to hear what Calvin has to say. So Calvin, he's like, why was Sabrina here? You know, it's the middle of the day. Why are you here, Maurice? And Maurice is like, listen, why are you here with this white woman? I don't understand why you're here with Peggy, but you talking about you just got back with Sabrina. This whole time, Calvin keeps saying, I just got back good with her. I just got back good with her. I said, well, you ain't looking too good right now. But he further explains how, well, she doesn't want to commit to me, so he's going to continue to see other people. I completely understand that, because if you're not going to commit to me, we're not going to officially be boyfriend and girlfriend. So therefore, Calvin has a point that, yes, he can date around. I don't see a problem with him saying this. However, he was not upfront with Sabrina when he had the chance to. When he was laying in bed getting all them cuddles that he was getting, yeah, he should have been like, oh, by the way, if we're not going to commit to each other, do you think it's okay for us to see other people? But no, that's not what Calvin did. He did some bitch shit. He wanted to see if she was going to say that she was seeing other people, and that's not what happened. All right, now let's go ahead and move on, because the only thing else that happened was Maurice was trying to figure out why Calvin was so mad. But that's not important right now. Let's talk about these girls just showing up to Sabrina's house and entering her apartment and getting hella comfortable. I mean, they over here going through cabinets, finding glasses so they can pour these little bitty tiny liquor bottles into the glass. I'm sorry. But first of all, what my friend is not going to do is just be in my apartment when I'm not there. Secondly, I don't understand why these bougie-ass heifers sat up there and poured them tiny-ass bottles of liquor into cups. And then they had the audacity to pour just a splash in there. I said, that ain't even going to hit your tongue. Like, that is not going to hit the back of your throat. What are we doing here? But you know what? Let's just go ahead and move on, because none of the rest of that shit was important. Let's talk about when Sabrina, she gets home, she slams the keys down, she comes stomping her ass in the house, and she's just pouting like a child. I'm sorry. I understand she was upset, but this whole little scene was giving me child. Like, ma'am, figure out how to handle your emotions, because right now you looking real childish. So Sabrina continues to tell the girls that she's good, she's okay. Honestly, all the stuff with Calvin completely, it just took over what happened at the bank. I don't see how, but that right there was the camel. What's it called? The hay that broke the camel's back. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Baby girl had a jacked up attitude since. So she is, saying that she's okay from what happened with the robbery. She tells her friends thank you like multiple times. So she finally gets a sip of this liquor or whatever. And Danni is like, listen, girl, you are a full-grown woman. I need for you to buy some real liquor, because right now all you got is a bunch of cheap stuff. And that's when she opens up and says, oh, well, Calvin drunk up all my good liquor or whatever. And everybody's like, what do you mean Calvin? Calvin ain't been in the picture. Keep in mind, I think Danni is the only one who knows that Calvin was just there that morning. That freaking morning, you guys. It's so funny how Tyler writes this. So, she has to go into detail about how, her and Calvin, they back, and then come to find out he's still messing around with this white girl. So, of course, all the ladies are like, what? He's still back in the picture. You have Danni mentioning how, wait, y'all just made up. Sabrina don't want to talk about it. So then we want to talk about the robbery. She gives them the backstory of what happened with Maurice. And Danni is like, ooh, damn, Maurice going down, basically. He ain't about to have no job. So, of course, Sabrina wants to take up for her friend. Is like, no, don't try to blame him for this and all that. So, at one point, she's just like, yeah, I don't want to talk about that either. So, Karen is like, yeah, but I still want to talk about this robbery, because she's trying to figure out how okay is her friend. I really feel like in that moment, Karen was not trying to pry into, oh, well, Maurice did this and did that wrong. I literally think that's Sabrina. Karen was coming from the place of how is Sabrina doing, since she just had a gun put to her head, at the bank, at her job, at her workplace, and the fact that these guys are still out there. So, in typical Sabrina fashion, you guys, she has done this before. I can't remember which lady she did this to. Maybe y'all can talk about it in the comments. I know for sure that Sabrina has changed the subject so that it's on someone else and tried to air their business out. So that's exactly what she does to Karen. She's like, well, let's talk about you and Aaron and how he proposed to you. And it's like, damn, I feel like she kind of told you that, just to try to change the subject when y'all were at the bank. But okay, we're going to bust this out. So, of course, you have Andi. She is all listening ears, because Karen was the main one who stopped her from getting married to, what's his name? Gary. So she wants to make sure that Sabrina didn't just, not Sabrina, Karen. I keep getting her names mixed up. Karen didn't just jump the gun and try to get engaged or whatever to Aaron. And she's like, no, I told him no. So that was Sabrina's cue to bring up the fact that Zach gave old girl the money. And I'm like, again, Sabrina, I understand that you're upset, but your tendency to air other people's shit out because you're having problems with your nigga, that's a problem in itself. I don't even understand how they are friends with Sabrina. Because there's no way you about to be in your feelings and then you gonna try to air my shit out. Absolutely not. We would not be friends. Especially once she told the girls exactly how much Zach gave her. She was like, yeah, it was $72,000. Girl, all because you work at the bank does not mean that you need to air out my personal business. I don't care if Zach gave her $20 million. Why are you telling her business to your friend group? Because we still don't know how much money Andi got in that settlement. We have no idea. Well, at least the girls don't, I don't believe. They have no idea how much dough Andi is rolling in. However, Big Mouth Sabrina lets everything out. So now we got the girls asking Karen, oh, how do you feel about Zach? Are you still interested in Zach? And she pulls this line, well, we got history. Girl, so what? I got history with people who I was friends with in elementary school. We ain't friends no more. What the hell are we talking about? I'm so over this idea of Karen and Zach. It's time for us to let it go because Karen needs to move on because Zach already has. I'm over it. So she over here talking about somehow we're just going to wait and see. I said, girl, we're going to wait and see what? How he moved on to Fatima? Now, this whole time, Andi ain't said a word. She has nothing to say because she knows that Zach is moving forward with Fatima. But she doesn't want to hurt Karen's feelings to let her know that, yeah, your ex is moving on with my homegirl. Hell, actually, I can't even say that because in this scene, the girls are asking her, like, so what's going on with Zach and Fatima? And she's like, oh, I don't know because, I don't really talk to her like that. You don't? Okay. So then they were like, well, ain't that your homegirl or whatever? And she's like, no, I'm her boss. Y'all, honestly, this is what I've been saying about Andi this entire time. She is not Fatima's friend. And I really wish that Fatima would, hear this or she would learn that because if she did, she would definitely drop Andi because I know I would. I feel like Andi only uses Fatima when it's convenient for her. But let's just go ahead and move on because now there's a knock at the door. And who is it? It's Calvin. So Calvin is sitting over there talking about I didn't know you had company. Here go Andi. We're not company. And Danny chimes in, we're family. I'm like, girls, all right. Here we go. So he comes in. He's trying to explain himself. However, he's trying to... No, I'm sorry, not even trying to explain himself. He's trying to talk to Sabrina separately outside of her girls. And they're like, no, whatever you got to say, you can say it in front of us. You know that little high school shit. So, he's trying to explain himself. And the whole time while I'm watching him try to explain himself, I'm just like, Calvin, you are one better than me. There is no way I'm about to sit up here and explain myself while her homegirls are cutting in, they're butting in, they are giving me side eyes, eye rolls, all of this. No, thank you. Sabrina, you are a full-grown adult. This is a situation between you and Calvin. There's no need for you to sit up there and involve your homegirls. There's literally no need for this. But nope, they kept chiming in. I mean, literally at one point when he was like, Sabrina, you know that we weren't committed to each other like that. And at one point, Danny is just like, oh, don't talk to her. And then Andi is like, you talk to us. I said, excuse me? What is happening right now? I have no idea how Andi feels like that's okay to say. Like, it is okay for Sabrina not to handle this like the adult that she is. They are acting like she is a child that was done wrong. She is a 30-plus-year-old woman. I think she'll be okay to handle this on her own. So after that, Calvin is trying to move forward with the conversation, but then you have Danny. She is chiming in, talking about it's the panties. Oh, it's because of the vibrator, all this stuff. And Calvin is like, listen, first he was like, oh, wow, she really did tell y'all everything. And then he's like, well, listen, whatever I do with my partner in my own bedroom, that has nothing to do with any of y'all. And I'm just like, he's absolutely right. Like, I have been waiting for Calvin to just completely leave her alone. Like, I really have, because I'm sorry, the things that Sabrina has done to Calvin, whether it be her telling her friends all his business, or just her trying to get drug tests on him, all types of shenanigans that she's done, Sabrina and Calvin are not a match. So after a while, he got so fed up that he literally told Danny, F you. And that's when all the girls are like, what? Oh my gosh. How are y'all getting mad that he's telling her F you when she's coming at his neck the way she is? I feel like it was equal playing field. So at that point, he's like, listen, Sabrina, you already knew what this was. We weren't committed to each other. I'm going to date other people because of that. and you need to come to my house to have dinner at 8 o'clock. Be there. Here's my only thing about Calvin. Calvin always puts on his big man on campus voice when he's trying to be stern. Like, remember that time that he came over when he found out about her and Jacoby? When he came back over? Y'all remember when he really tried to put on that big guy voice? He does that whenever he tries to, be not himself. Like, it's so not natural. So once Calvin leaves, y'all, Danni gets a phone call, and it's Preston. He wants to come over by her place, right? Baby girl is so happy, talking about it's been a while since I've seen him. Girl, you broke off with him yesterday? I feel like it happened the day before. I really do. Somebody tell me where the timeline is. I feel like Danni just told Preston she don't want to be with him like that. He just moved out, and then he didn't call her that morning, and baby girl's still in her feelings. So, yeah. Whatever, Danni. So, next thing you know, all the girls try to pile out. Oh, wait, I almost forgot, y'all. I almost went to the next scene. When they're about to leave, you have Karen talking about something. Yeah, I'm about to go call Zach. And Andi like, you gonna do what? So she's like, yeah, is that a problem? I want to call Zach. I want to talk to him. I want to invite him over or whatever. And of course, Andi is kind of giving her like the subtle side eye because she already knows he's still messing around with Fatima. So Karen is like, Andi, is there something that you need to tell me? And Andy's like, no, because I'm not in the middle of this. And that told Karen all that she needed to know, honestly. In that moment, that told Karen everything that she needed to know. Like, girl, clearly Fatima is still in the picture. Stop trying to pursue Zach. Let it go. But no, we're going to get to that in a minute. So you already know, little Miss Sabrina, she has to throw a little bit of shade towards Andi. She's like, yeah, so what's going on with Gary's wife? Because y'all know they all got that subpoena or whatever. And Andy's like, I'm sad I'm going to handle it. AKA, she ain't done nothing yet. All right, y'all. Now let's go ahead and move on because we get to Danni's house. Preston is already there. He was very mellow, very not himself. Because, like, everything that she tried to say, like, oh, do you want to cook? He's like, no. Do you want to eat? Sure. Very one-word answers. I understand why that's the title of the episode. And she's like, okay, like, what's going on here? Because, like, basically, why are you being so cold to me? But it's like, he has to be honest with her and say, well, you just demoted me to just being here for sex. That's the only thing we got in common. That's the only thing we good at. So that's what I'm here for. I'm here to fuck. Let's go ahead and get this popping. I don't know what rap songs he started listening to, but everything out of his mouth was out of control. I said, Preston, what is happening? Talking about pop that wop. Telling me you want to snatch the coochie. What was happening? Also, we can say coochie on TV now? What is happening? Anyways. So he finally gets it in Danni's head that maybe they should talk and learn more about each other instead of their relationship only being focused on sex. And she does finally give in and agree that they need to learn more about each other, as long as he doesn't continue with his new language that he's picked up from rap songs. All right, so actually let's go ahead and move on to Andi and Gary, because Andi ends up coming home or whatever, and Gary is still there. I'm like, girl, didn't you tell him to get out of your house? Why is Gary still there? So she's like, oh, something about him still being there. He's like, yeah, for a couple more days. I just bought a house. I'm just waiting for it to get painted. I said, hold up, swole up. Because I'm about sick and tired of Tyler and these Negroes just buying houses left and right. Like, what's the process? There's nobody going out there, and the same day they go looking, the first day, they just automatically bought a house and they got it. Unless Gary had already bought this house in plans of moving Andi out of her little condo, it's not making sense to me. So now Andi feels some type of way. She's like, oh, so you were just going to move out without telling me? Last time I checked, y'all ain't really together. So I don't understand why you're getting so hurt and in your feelings about this, Andi. You should be jumping up for joy that he's deciding that he's going to go ahead and leave. Because at the end of the day, you don't need to be with Gary. So then this triggers a whole conversation about how his therapist is terrible. His therapist wants to sleep with him and all this stuff. I'm just like, what is this conversation? I thought the whole point of this was so Andi and Gary can finally move on with their lives away from each other. Nope. They still out here arguing. So we ended that scene with Gary leaving the keys that Andi gave him on the table. And I'm like, let that be the end of Andi and Gary. But y'all know, Gary gonna make an appearance sooner than later. So let's go ahead and move on to Zach and Fatima. Zach comes into Fatima's apartment or whatever. Now she's wearing lingerie. And he comes home to tell her, oh, yeah, they accepted my offer. Right then and there, now Zach has a house. The funny thing about this is that Zach literally said, oh, yeah, because I'm going to be moving out soon. I said, soon where? You have a place that has no walls. All you have is beams up. Your shit going to be, a work in progress for a couple of months. Tyler, let's not rush this and act like Zach about to move in tomorrow. Let's not. So then we have Zach talking about I'm going to need you to help me decorate. And she's like, yeah, I can do that. Oh, and I'm going to need you to help me pick out a bed. I can do that. And then he talking about and move in with me. Negro. What? I don't understand the pace of this relationship. Y'all, I feel like they've only known each other for a good 3 weeks now. Y'all know I go up for Zach and Fatima. But I don't understand why Tyler is writing this the way he is. Zach talking about some people have been taking care of him his whole life, and now he wants to take care of Fatima. It's like, yeah, that's cute to say out loud. But at the end of the day, you just met her. And that's no offense to Fatima at all. I'm just saying that the pace of this relationship is absolutely ridiculous at this point. It's not making any sense. Hell, actually, all of the relationships on these Tyler Perry shows don't make no damn sense now that I think about it. But let's go ahead and move on. They just basically have a makeout session. She tell him that no, they can't get in the shower because he's not about to mess up her weave. All right, let's move on. So now we jump on over to Karen. Baby girl is calling Zach, talking about glad to know I'm not blocked anymore. I said, yeah, but he still didn't answer your call. You still leaving a voicemail, girl. Anyways, so on this message, she tells him how she wants to talk to him and she wants him to come over to her place or whatever. And next thing you know, Aaron pops up. So he comes strolling in talking about I brought Chinese food. She's like, why the hell is this nigga here? But I guess they made plans that on Wednesday nights they eat Chinese food and watch movies. I'm like, dude, weren't you just at her house the day before? You could have did this yesterday. But anyways, he's looking around were you expecting somebody to show up or something? And she's like, no. And he compliments her on what she has on because baby girl done changed her little outfit. So I guess since he went to the Red Box to get a movie, they're going to have their Chinese food and watch this movie that he brought over. Let's go ahead and move on because we have Calvin in the kitchen. He's trying to cook this meal because remember, Sabrina was supposed to come over at 8 o'clock. But Maurice is like, she ain't coming, so you might as well go ahead and let me eat this food. Keep in mind, it's already past 8 o'clock. So there's a knock at the door. Calvin thinks it's Sabrina. Nope, it's the white boy from the club. He came to check on Maurice to make sure he's okay. Now, this whole time, I'm just like, I wonder if Tyler is going to make this white boy be the love interest for Maurice. I would not be surprised if that's something that Tyler did. One thing I will say about this scene is that I'm glad that somebody else was able to check on Maurice because they really make it seem like he ain't got no friends but Sabrina. So I'm glad that this guy, he came over to check on Maurice to see how he was doing. So we already know that all the news about what happened to Maurice has already spread around the club. But white boy said him and Maurice gonna go get some Mexican food to cheer him up. I said, all right, cool. Hop on over to Danni and Preston. They are finally discussing their childhoods and how they do have some similarities. And they finally realize that, they do have some things in common. Therefore, Preston was right, and Danni is finally able to open up to him. So, next thing you know, she wants to go ahead and get things popping with him, and he's like still using these slang words, talking about he about to switch things up on these hoes. I say, you know what, Preston? I can't with you right now, but I am falling out laughing with all these things that you're saying. Especially once he said, put that wop in my mouth. I said, all right, tap out. Preston, you gotta cut it out. But let's go ahead and move on. Let's jump right back with Aaron and Karen. The movie is over. So then she starts to question Aaron's intent on bringing this movie, because basically the premise is a woman is torn between two men and she has to make a choice. And the woman ends up choosing the new guy in the movie. According to Aaron, it was not intentional. He just heard that the movie had good reviews. So now Karen, she talking about she want to go to bed. He like, all right, well, I'm just going to go ahead and go home. Clearly, there's some things that you still need to work through. And she's like, well, you still have things that you need to work through. And I'm just sitting here like, I want both of y'all to work yourselves out away from each other. Aaron has a lot of trauma and dramatic things that have happened in his life that he hasn't fully worked through. And Karen needs to go love herself before she try to go choose between Zach and Aaron. Because let's be honest, she chose Aaron because he was the opposite of Zach. And then you want to look back at Zach just because he came into some money. That's literally where we are right now. Let's go ahead and move on though. Because next thing you know, these two are making out on the couch. And she has to tell baby boy, oh no, let's stop all this make love talk. I want you to fuck me. I said, oh, okay, Karen. Let's just go ahead and put it out there. So at first he was a little confused and she had to repeat herself. And then he finally got a clue. And they're making out, getting all hot and heavy on the couch. And out of nowhere, y'all, she's like, Zach. I said, girl, you know Aaron is on top of you. If you don't cut it out. Like, I'm sorry. But the last person that you smashed was Aaron. I'm so confused as to how we're still focusing on Zach. Karen has got to let it go. I'm sorry. She has got to let this whole Zach thing go. I'm over it. So, you guys, that was pretty much where the episode left off, with Aaron about to get the fuck on. Because all he did was, like, look up at her. Look down on her. So, we shall see what happens next week. Go ahead and let me know what you guys thought about the episode. Go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. And I will talk to you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.